you've not taken lessons to be equipped, like watching and locking Marital Bliss every moment you have, following us on social media, you will never develop a real relationship.
Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Don't waste the tomorrows that you have chasing what doesn't matter.
Both believe that we're headed in the right direction.
It turns out that I just got a few days with my son. To hold him was amazing.
Young lady, you do understand that stealing is a sin.
Says who?
For treating me in such a fair and Christian manner.
The name of our teams or of our schools, not because of the name above all names. Jesus.
Suzanne Waters, I'm the mother-in-law of the woman you helped. I believe that God wants me to be here.
You don't have to bother us. The good book says, without a vision, the people perish. I say, go give it to them.
Don't just follow your heart. You gotta lead your heart.
God still answers prayers. God still performs miracles. Heaven is real.
For all the situations that you will have to go through, for all the obstacles you will have to move, for all the power and the blessings you will need in your life to enter the fullness of possibilities and receive an abundant life, you will need the power and determination that starts when your faith is awakened. Join us daily at 6:55 a.m. and 10:55 p.m. for Awakening of Faith, only here on UBC.
Three. What's up with number 3? It's 3 at Airtel and not 4 anymore. It's 3 shillings per second across all networks in Uganda.
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second. Get to talk to anyone on any network anytime at 3 shillings per second. Ha ha! Tuanzi Soze!
Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Make calls from Airtel to all networks at 3 shillings per second.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
President Yoweri Museveni was in the Japanese city of Yokohama between the 27th and the 30th of August 2019 to attend the 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 7, hosted by the Japanese Prime Minister, His Excellency Shinzo Abe. The President was received on arrival at Haneda International Airport by Mr. Hasinobu Hasama of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Uganda's ambassador to Japan, Ms. Betty Akech Okulo, the Minister of State for Works, General Katumba Wamara, and the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Patrick Mugoya. The opening of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development on Wednesday, the 28th of August, was preceded by a group photograph of African heads of state, together with their host, the Japanese Prime Minister, and the Secretary General of the United Nations at the Pacifico Yokohama Convention Center. Over 30 African heads of state attended the summit, whose theme was Africa and Yokohama, sharing passion for the future. It was co-sponsored by Japan, United Nations, the World Bank, African Union Commission, and UNDP. It aimed at accelerating economic development and transformation of Africa.
Thank you very much.
I would like to first ask Prime Minister Abe to make a statement.
His Excellency Shinzo Abe welcomed African leaders to the 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development and thanked them for honoring his invitation. In his address, themed Advancing African Development Through People, Technology and Innovation, Premier Shinzo Abe said, over the last 3 years since TICAD 6 in Nairobi, Japan had invested over $2 billion in Africa. He said TICAD is a partnership that seeks to promote entrepreneurship, enterprise, investment and innovation in Japanese development commitments in Africa. The Prime Minister encouraged African leaders to look towards the Japanese model of investment in Africa and trade more carefully on amassing huge debts that tend to burden their economies, leading to debilitating and unsustainable debt burdens. The Japanese leader pledged a more focused approach towards economic development cooperation and to train African economists in risk management and public debt, taking a more pro-people approach. He said Japan will work with the African Development Bank to promote quality investments and transparency. The United Nations Secretary General, Dr. Antonio Guterres, also addressed the opening plenary.
I'm pleased to be with you for this 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, which coincides with the beginning of the Reiwa era in Japan, an era of beautiful harmony. By the way, an harmony we benefit all over the world. I thank Japan for its commitment to Africa as exemplified by TICAD. Since its launch 26 years ago, TICAD has evolved into an open, inclusive and multilateral forum for mobilizing and sustaining international support for Africa's peace, security, and sustainable development. I see Africa as a dynamic continent of opportunity, where winds of hope are blowing ever stronger. And TICAD has played a critical role in focusing international dialogue on Africa, built on the twin principles of African ownership and international partnership. Its partnerships have made important contribution to Africa's economic transformation through entrepreneurship and trade. And they have supported increased access to services, education, water and sanitation, and helped promote peace and stability. The team of TICAD 7, Advancing Africa's Development Through People, Technology and Innovation, is tight. Technology and innovation are central to unleashing Africa's vast potential and realizing our shared vision of leaving no one behind.
In his address to the summit, President Yoweri Museveni called on leaders to concentrate on solving issues that undermine economic productivity by removing cost pushers through improved infrastructures such as roads and railways, electricity and cost of money, saying this will not only improve the cost of doing business, but also attract private sector investment.
Excellency, from state, government, first of all, greetings from the people of Uganda. Secondly, human beings have been on earth for the last 4.5 million years. And in those 4.5 million years, we have faced two problems. One problem, oppression by nature, floods, diseases, and so on. Second problem, operation by man, one operation in another man. However, as time goes on, man improves capacity to deal with nature. In the year 1698, the first steam engine was discovered. Then in 1823, someone improved that steam engine to run trains. We have now been through 3 revolutions, industrial revolutions. We are now entering the 4th one. However, Africa, for one reason or another, has missed most of these revolutions, even today. So therefore, I would want to harmonize thinking with colleagues. Problem number 1, in the case of Uganda, has been the issue of removing the cost pushers, things who push up costs, which undermine the productivity of the economy. This is the cost of transport, the cost of electricity, and the cost of money. If you don't solve these 3, we are not going to move. Those must be solved. And I would want all friends to concentrate on this. By building the railways, electricity, and solving the problem of the cost of money. Secondly, the private sector should come and help. Now the private sector is growing up, but we need more. So these 2 things, bring down the cost pushers and attract the private sector. Thank you very much.
The following day, on Thursday the 29th, President Yoweri Museveni and the Japanese Prime Minister, His Excellency Shinzo Abe, led their respective ministerial delegations in bilateral talks held at the Intercontinental Yokohama Grand Hotel. They discussed wide-ranging matters of development cooperation between Uganda and Japan. Mr. Museveni thanked the Japanese government for supporting Uganda's economic infrastructural development projects, which include roads and bridges, electricity, heavy construction machinery, vocational training, as well as universal health coverage. He urged the Japanese government, which is constructing the Kampala City flyover projects, to consider raising the height of the flyover to accommodate the standard gauge railway crossings. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe thanked President Yoweri Museveni for his role in peacekeeping and security in the region and Uganda's lead in the fight against Ebola. He requested Uganda's support for Japanese bid for a seat at the United Nations Security Council and for a judge at the International Court of Justice. While in Yokohama for the summit, President Museveni received the Kenyan leader, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, with whom he discussed trade-related issues, particularly the import and export of sugar between the 2 countries and other matters of common interest. President Museveni later held a bilateral meeting with his Egyptian counterpart, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. His Excellency el-Sisi is also the current chairman of the African Union. The 2 leaders discussed bilateral, regional, and continental issues of mutual interest. President Yoweri Museveni later received the Director General of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, Mr. Lee Young, who called on him at his hotel. The President and his guest discussed Africa's quest for industrialization, lowering the costs of doing business through improved infrastructures, availability of electricity, and the quality of the labor force on the continent. Mr. Lee Young, commended President Yoweri Museveni for his support towards the third industrial revolution for Africa and said he believes that Africa must industrialize to fulfill its economic potential. He pledged UNIDO's support for Uganda's industrialization strategies and development initiatives in line with the country's programs. President Yoweri Museveni later received the Reverend Okso Park, founder of the Good News Mission and International Youth Fellowship, who paid a courtesy call on him at the Intercontinental Yokohama Grand Hotel. The President and the South Korean delegation discussed youth development programs, especially in the new era of information communication technology. The Reverend Park observed that today's youth don't think on their own, but rely more on the internet and social media. He said this had led to irresponsible lifestyles, drug and alcohol abuse, gambling, and increased cases of suicide. He counseled that what is necessary is mindset education to be able to help them refocus on the realities of humanity. President Museveni thanked the Reverend Park for his concern to the younger generation and told him that government will send young teachers to his organization for a one-month course for trainers of trainers on mindset education to enable and empower them, return and counsel young people under their care on generational challenges that come with the new era of information communication technology. He said he hopes the training will help teachers to support the growing young population, focus on realities of life, depend less on virtual information and lifestyles that lead to depression and sometimes early death. The meeting was attended by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Sam Kutesa, that of State for Higher Education, Dr. John Muyingo, Uganda's ambassador to Japan, Ms. Grace Akello, and other government officials accompanying the President.
So please help us to be able to do this education.
No, I will organize 100 teachers.
President Yoweri Museveni later met Mzee Yashiyomi Tamai, founder of the Ashinaga movement and one of the leading philanthropists in Japan. The President commended him for his charitable work in Japan and beyond, and for realizing the dreams of hundreds of orphans worldwide through education. Mzee Tamai was accompanied by the Ashinaga Movement Director for Africa, Mr. Yukidi Owazaki, and 3 Ugandan students, Geoffrey Kayira, Vieira Rutaya, and Emmanuel Maseruka, who are beneficiaries of the movement and now work voluntarily for the organization. Mr. Maseruka is also one of the winners of this year's Innovation Award by Africa-Japan Youth Alliance. Mr. Museveni thanked the movement founder, Mzee Yashiyomi Tamai, for the annual scholarship awards to Ugandans. He urged the Ashinaga movement to focus more on skills-based offers that will enable the students get jobs when they eventually return to their respective countries. The movement provides students with financial and emotional support necessary for them to progress academically and realize their lifetime dreams.
At least in programs that are critical to national development.
After a number of other engagements in Yokohama with several Japanese entrepreneurs and investors who expressed interest in investing in the Ugandan economy in various fields like solar power panel productions, medical infrastructures and logistics, food and nutrition, particularly banana and millet processing for the export market, President Yoweri Museveni left Japan for home on Friday, the 30th of August 2019. Matia Kasaija, State Minister for Works, General Katumba Wamara, Ambassador Betty Akech Okulo, and Mr. Hashinobu Hasana of the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Reaching the main road, Mbale Kapchora, the crew sets their sights on the mighty Sipi Falls. They marveled at God's magnificent creation. And the strolling towards the second and most beautiful of the falls, Akwa Sipi, the challenge with experience is energized. Traversing through these beautiful greenery terrains, the hikers begin feeling the heat of the challenge as they marvel at the beauty and worship the Almighty God.
So for us, we continue. Yeah, you can enter. Yeah, you are.
Someone, my God.
Hey, you are over resting corner. This is a resting place where we do rest when we are hiking. At times rain can get you just on your way. So when it gets you, you just enter here until the rain stops, then you come out.
Wait. I've looked at all the pictures, Nico.
It's constructed by the community.
I'm like,
Sipi, we are coming. Sharif is my name.
Finally, the crew made it to its long-waiting second Sipi Falls, Akwa Sipi, contemplating how God created such things. The place is a well-endowed scenery. The hikers get more excited upon reaching this great scenery, looking at the wall curtains, carousel, and the photo moment starts as their souvenirs.
My name is Sharif, co-founder CP Falls Vacations and tourist guide at Rafiki Lodge CP. Right now we are at CP Falls. CP Falls happens to be one of the tourist sites in Uganda. And at CP Falls we have got 3 waterfalls. We've got the main one which is 100 meters high. We've got the second one which is 63 and the third one is 85. Then away from that, right now we are at the second point. That second waterfalls which happens to be 63 meters high above sea level. And we are right at the bottom of the waterfalls, as you can see the amazing nature. Then with me here is the natural cave. People living around here at the Sabines. Their origin is from Ethiopian highlands. So when they reached here, they found that there was caves within CP Falls here that they had to occupy. We have got one called CP Miza Cave. That happens to be one of the ancestral homes for the Sabines. So while they were inside these caves, the cave that they had settled became so crowded, and they decided to shift from the cave, and they also had to create the new cave. Then when they were here, there were various activities that used to take place. We have a circumcision that used to take place. There was also cultural dances and so many things. So we are here with a team from breathtaking Uganda, and we are having fun. So from here we are heading to the top of the waterfalls, which is going to lead us to the second waterfalls, which happens to be 85 meters high.
Inside the cave, gibbering of waterfalls as the hikers get more excited with selfies on this great magnificent scenery. After we started our next destination under the guidance of Sharif, the tour guide from CP Valley Hotel. Besides the cove, there is a adoring beauty view of water falling on the rocks. The hikers continue deep into the terrains of Great CP Falls. The heat and challenge rekindles. Dear hikers feel heat overboard as they continue strolling into the jungle. The heat of uncertainty continues as some hikers had to appreciate the nature-drawing dripping waters from this great mountain of Elgon. some hikers relax and marvel at the beautiful folds and great mist before them.
That's right.
Hikers help each other as the heat intensifies. We continued upward into the terrains to the stopover for relaxation as they viewed the great falls from the above.
The region of northern Uganda, which in the past lagged behind due to post-war conflict, is now undergoing transformation through innovative development approaches of the government of Uganda. Thousands of households are progressing out of poverty through a pathway that includes market-driven enterprises, a growing culture of savings and investment, village revolving funds, employment provided by labor-intensive public works, communal block farming, and through mindset development training. The third Northern Uganda Social Action Fund, known as NUSAF 3, is a project under the Office of the Prime Minister, is uplifting communities and changing lives. A documentary on NUSAF 3 is to be aired on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Uganda, the land of sunshine. Breathtaking, stunning sights, incredibly extensive large greenery. Variety of wild animals and bird species. A wide range of luxury holiday facilities. Diverse, rich culture. The home of beautiful, welcoming, hospitable people. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
amazing. It was amazing.
This is from
It was an
Victoria.
amazing trek. Worth trying it out.
Kachora.
You should come and do this sometime in your life. Before you die, bucket list.
Sipi Falls is where we are right now. Finally, we are done with the first waterfalls. We are at the top of the waterfalls. From here, we are heading to another waterfall, which is 85 meters high above sea level. All these waterfalls are very pretty and they're amazing. Come, we have fun. Sharif is my name. I'm a Sipi Falls tour guide. Rafiki Sipi. Where is the top?
Telling you, this is something different. I've never had something like this. This is like water from the fridge. It's so cold. You want to drink this because it's really very cold. It's nice. The weather here is perfect. I love it. And we breathe very, very fresh air. No dust, no pollution, nothing. It's really very good. Things out there, I normally get people from abroad, friends from Kenya, but I've never seen this. They just come and stay in Kampala. They don't see this beauty out here.
Because this is the middle of the rainy season, the falls are so beautiful, the water is raging, it is so awesome, man. You have to be here. Make it a point to come here to the Sipi Falls because I tell you, my country is so beautiful. Iowa.
So we've hiked up to the top of the second waterfall, but this is more of a rapid. It's way on top of the first one that we saw earlier. It's a bit intense to climb up here, but it's worth the experience. Looking at this water and the amazing part that we've come during the wet season, you need to appreciate what Uganda has to offer. This point happens to be the point where most of the kids, they come, they play with the water and they are very careful. And this point looks to be very pretty for them. This is a point where most of the locals, they come and they have first waterfalls where we started from, and right now we are at the top. So guys are enjoying the view of this water rapid. This water rapid helps the waterfalls to connect over down the cliff, then the water flows to another waterfall. This place is so beautiful, as you can see. Unfortunately that the weather has covered it, but the view here is amazing. So you too can be here for this amazing nature which God has given us. So from here we are heading to another waterfalls where
amazing. You need to do this on your own.
Breathtaking, tiring. You need to go to the gym first.
I've been enjoying Sipi Falls. I've been enjoying the water, running, and I had to feel how it is, but it's so cold and awesome. I even took some because I'm thirsty.
Hiking to the next destination, the crew crosses different tributary rivers that feed. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, takes you beyond the guidebooks, the known features, and gives Ugandans the insights unmatched. It inspires and cultural stature, wildlife, and physical features. Uganda is without the crowds, without abundant primate